Hello and welcome back to another episode with Desi and Lisa. We are back sharing about play, the inner child, and healing. And we're going to really
Yay!
explore why play is often missing from these healing conversations, how reconnecting with joy supports healing, and why becoming your authentic self requires meeting the needs of your inner child and not constantly just quote unquote doing the work and
Mm.
staying in the mind and staying in the analyzation of all the things like I do.
So we'll edit that out now that I know how to edit. I didn't realize I was saying this part. Okay, cool.
You can stop if you
Um,
want and we can restart if you want.
I mean, I can just edit.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. What am I saying though? I didn't go over this. Okay. Yes, this is such a big conversation. Of course, I'm so lit up by it. This has really been such a passion of mine that has been such a huge part of the work that I'm bringing to the world. And so I'm beyond excited to dive into this conversation today. And, one of the things that I feel I was missing from the healing space and why I've been bringing so much of this into my work, into my healing with my clients is really having the fun and the play and tapping back into that little girl. Because when we think about inner child work, we start thinking like, oh my gosh, like what's going to come up? And she was so hurt and she was abandoned and she was left out. And we think about all these things that are unhealed from our childhood. And so we kind of just push it off, right? And we don't want to really do that. And, a lot of us will and some of us won't. And this, we'll dabble around with it and try to figure it out. But the biggest thing that I've realized is the healing around our hearts and our inner child is really coming back to that play and to that joy. So healing
Mm-hmm.
isn't always just the therapy. It's not just the shadow work or the journaling and the processing the trauma all the time. It's actually coming back to your joy. It's coming back to laughter. It's coming back to like
Mm-hmm.
fun and
Oh
play
my
and
God.
going on the
Yes.
swings and blowing the bubbles and getting in the bounce houses with the kids. It's like that is so healing for our soul. It's so healing for our body. It's so healing for our inner child. And so, really bringing that back to the healing space. I'm sure at one point, maybe there was like a lot of fun and joy and play in the healing space. And I think a lot of it has like turned into like this darker shadows that we're healing. And yes, as a humanity, there are lots of things that we get to heal, for ourselves and for our communities and for our family. But there's also this parts of us that get to come into the play and into the
Mm-hmm.
joy and into the creativity. And so I really believe we've made healing feel too heavy. And so that's what I love to bring in the play. And, I know Lisa was in my last, or actually my very first inner child haven. And one
Yeah.
of the things that I know we talked about was like having the time to play and to like go outside and like actually having to like schedule it into your calendar a little bit, right? Because it's not something we're natural at. It's not something that we just go and do. It's something that we have to put a little bit of effort in. So I would love to
Yeah.
hear a little bit about Lisa and how that experience was like bringing that into, your daily routine, or how did that look like?
Yeah, I think actually what comes to mind is when you had us do like a play fort and
Mm.
we did like the pillow fort, and
So awesome.
me and Mason we went under there, we watched a movie, we had snacks. It
Mm.
was so much fun. And we definitely both fell asleep watching the movie, but it was just like a reminder of, being a kid again. I think we as adults and of course evolve self and we think we just have to be responsible all the time and
Right.
I don't know about some of the people that are listening and I don't know if that resonates with you, but I know for me I definitely have been like I need to work 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 like it's just
Mm.
like there's never enough and then I like I'm just like I don't have enough time or when I have extra time I'm doing healing stuff or I'm doing other
Mm.
stuff that like is other hobbies instead of actually play. Like for me recently I'm like, I need to go back to dance classes. Like I
Yeah.
loved dance as a kid and it's fun that I found a place that's semi-local and it's adult dance classes. Like I get to go hip hop,
Mm.
I get to go to a twerk class and I'm just like, this is so much fun because people are just so authentic and unique there. Like everyone cheers everyone on like and it's
Mhm.
just a different experience. And again, it's so healing because you're like, I get to have so much fun. I get to express myself in a way and not be judged for it. Like And it's just these little ways of being like, no, like I need to go to one of these once a month, like
At
even
least
though
once
like
a
I wish
month.
I could go. Yeah, exactly. Like I wish I could go every week, but
Right.
sometimes the with the schedule, like it's on Friday night. So I'm like, I don't love that it's on Friday nights, the ones that I
Yeah.
want to go to. But I'm like, at least once a month I can do it. Like, cause
Well,
then
or
I
having
feel
like a dance
so much
party with
better.
Steve and Mason, like in the
Yeah. Oh
house.
yeah,
Like,
for
hey
sure.
guys, let's do
We do
that.
karaoke and it's like
Oh,
so
I
much
love it.
fun.
I love it. Yeah. Well, just the amount of endorphins that are released when we're
Yes.
playing and we're getting in that childlike state and just like coming back to you. I really feel as it's coming back to your center. It's coming back to like
Yeah.
who we actually were born in the world to be before we were
Right.
told who we had to be.
Yeah.
And I do have to give a shout out to my grandma because
Hmm.
she made my childhood so magical and so special. And she literally passed away still with stuffed animals in her bed and like just inner child play and fun all the time. And she made us think that there was a cookie tree in the back of her house that every time we came over there was cookies there because the
Stop
tree
it.
made the
That's
cookies.
adorable.
Yeah. No, she it gets better. She made us think that Tommy the turtle actually traveled around to all of the cousins' tubs, and we would like there was Tommy the turtle, so we thought that like he really went through the drains and popped up. She also made us think that Casper the friendly ghost
Oh, love
was
Casper.
bringing us presents and he would knock things off of the like she would knock things off of things and you're young, right? You're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's Casper. Oh yeah, and she'll talk to him. It's like she was just so imaginative, and so that really just brought so much of that childlike play online for me and the
Yeah.
imagination, and then just like continuing to tap into that over the years. So I really have to like give her a shout out. She's since passed, but she just always exuberated just that childlike
Yeah.
play and fun
Yeah.
and really instilled that into me. And I'm just so grateful that it's so
Yeah.
natural to me that I can like,
Right.
hey, like let's go build a fort. Let's have fun.
Yeah.
It's really just like so easy for me. So I'm just really grateful
Yeah.
for that.
And I think too with like it's a good point too about like bringing up your grandmom and stuff because like when you go to grandparents' houses, that is like more of a time that you do get to play,
So
right? Like
true.
it's like they encourage like let's go color because they're so present because they're like this is my grandkid for the most part and they're just like
Right.
I want to play with you, like and they do it their
Mm,
best, of course, whatever activities, but
yeah.
it's such a magical place, when you go to your grandparents or hang out with cousins and you get to fully play and fully like be a kid,
Mhm.
instead of like, where unfortunately, we're in, at least in this time, that it's hard for parents to like fully be present and play with their kids every single day. Not everyone has that
True.
gift of a parent being home and being able to play or,
Right.
a lot of parents are working now. So it is like an upbringing or a reminder that like make sure you do have time,
Mm.
whether it's with your kids or with your inner child.
Yeah, definitely. I think with the kids too, like especially at the fun ages, like it's so easy to
Yeah.
tap in with them. My niece and nephew are now currently teenagers, and so
Yeah.
my little girl is very sad that they don't want to play
Hmm.
the way they used to play. And but like obviously that's the evolution. Like now they're becoming teenagers, and they're not really like my niece will still like she'll still color with me and stuff like that. But they have the phones that they're
Yep.
on.
Yep.
That's a whole nother conversation. But
Yeah.
now it's like I get to like see how it evolves with them as like
Yeah.
I'm this inner child fun auntie and
Yeah.
like how they're going into this like adulthood and it's going to be interesting just to see like how that evolves for them and like when they
Yeah.
realize, oh wait a minute, like I do miss that kind of stuff, like I do want to play, I do want to do
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah. And I think too, we're gonna get into it in a moment. Um, But I think it's the different parts of inner child that come through in
Mm,
different ages, and we get to explore that a little bit more throughout this conversation and for
yeah.
things that you are doing further. But I think this conversation is just really important because finding out again, we forget through adulthood and being evolved and being a parent or adult or whatever, like having to be responsible.
Mm,
And some people are born with not caring, and I love that for you, but I am definitely one that is
mm,
like I need to be responsible. I need to be the parent. I need to be strict. I need to be strict with myself because I'm like I don't got time for play and I don't got
right.
time to like be imaginative and creative. And then later I'm like I don't have imagination. I'm not creative. And like, duh,
Mm,
I'm
so
not really
interesting.
spending time with it, right? Like it's like coloring or drawing, something that you think is like quote unquote creative. It's like I'm not an artist. I don't know how to create. Well, like what did you do as a kid? I'm sure you colored. I'm sure you made masterpieces in your eyes, It's like
Yeah.
you're not spending time with that part of you, you turned
Mm,
it off.
right.
So this is the time and the invitation to invite your inner child into this conversation of asking it what does it need? So who is your inner child really? So maybe you know this, maybe you don't, but this is a little refresher if you do. It is all the younger versions of you that still live inside your nervous system. And again, this is the part of you that experience the joy, the creativity, the imagination, the wonder. Like when you look at kids and maybe you're a parent and you've experienced this firsthand where the kid is a baby and like seeing things for the first time and you get to see that wonder through their eyes. Like that's a
Mm,
really great experience and you still can have that opportunity to do that. And even as parents and even with our own parents, of seeing them experience things for the first time. It's really cool. It's still that childlike wonder that we
mm,
get to experience. Is just it's a part of you that still comes through sometimes.
mm,
So this part of you also has experienced wounds, rejection, shame, fear, and all of these things because no one has a perfect childhood. And even if you do have a quote unquote perfect childhood, there's things that you deem as, fearful or rejection or whatever that is. And it means different things for everybody. So what your inner child really needed in those type of moments where it created a little bit of a loop, a little bit of a frozen memory that your body remembers. So when that happens in real time in a different situation, your body remembers that part of you and it'll come back to like, oh, that reminded me of that rejection of that time. And of course,
mm,
sometimes you don't really realize that in real time, which we've talked about triggers so far and a couple of masks that we've worn, but understanding that really your inner child in that moment and again your inner child doesn't have to be just this 5-year-old. It can be anywhere from being a baby from 13 years old. It could be there could be an inner teenager in there. It could be an inner 18-year-old in there that
mm,
is trying to express what it needs and kind of running the show a little bit with your nervous system. So that part of you, when things happen in real time in this life and as your evolved self, you're that part of you is just asking for safety. It's asking for love. It's asking for attention. It's asking for validation. It's asking for freedom to express emotions and asking for play and fun, right? I
mm,
think the expressing of emotions is the biggest thing that a lot of our inner selves and our younger versions of us
mm,
get stuck with because how many times, whether it's school, whether it's parents, or whether it's somebody else, society, whatever is telling you to be quiet, is telling you,
mm,
shh, 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 you're okay. Like
mm,
any of these things, like we're not taught to freely express. We're not taught to allow ourselves to be emotional. And maybe you had great people around you that did allow you to do this, but a lot of times, even if they are doing their best job, a lot of times we still don't know what we actually need until later. And we don't realize, how to emotionally share what was going on, whether it's just, and a lot of it is just, when you're really, really baby, the only expression that you can do is crying. Like, and it's like,
yeah.
what do you need? You can't express it and
No.
someone else can't understand it either. So allowing yourself to work on healing these parts of you to really nurture the child within.
Mm,
And that is what this conversation is really about and what Desi is pretty much expert in as well. So
mm. I know as you're talking, I was like, oh, there's so many things I want to say,
so
but
many
for this
things I know.
sake of time,
Yeah. We're gonna
we
keep going.
are, I'm sure we'll probably have another conversation
Yeah.
around this inner child again. But so, as Lisa was saying, our parents can't come to every single cry. They can't come to every single need, no matter if we had like really tentative parents or caretakers or we didn't. Like we all have wounds from our childhood because no person could come to everything we needed as a child. And this is talking about from like 0 to 18, right? And
Right.
so it's really interesting when we start thinking about that. Like, okay, if I know that I didn't get everything that I needed, where in my life may I still be either trying to get those things, looking for them in other people? Where might we be wearing masks in order to keep us safe? And what protectors do we still have around our hearts and our minds and our subconscious and in our body? And I love what you said earlier. You said that the memory was frozen. And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
that's such a good way to put it. Like it's
Mhm.
frozen, like our body remembers. And so I know it could be really scary. I hear this from a lot of women. Like, oh, first off, I don't remember,
Oh yeah.
which is fine. That's also like a protector, right? I know there's a lot of things that I didn't remember because I didn't want to remember them. And but as I've healed, I've had the tools and the expansion to be able to open up some of those memories and get the support and the healing that I needed. But I also hear too that they're scared. Like you're scared
Mhm.
to meet that little girl. And I get it. It is scary. Like there were things that happened to you that were not okay. You were abandoned in certain ways. Maybe you abandoned yourself or family members. Like there's so many things that have happened that were not okay. And so I like to tell people like it's okay. When you
Mhm.
get held through this work and get seen and you have other support, like it really opens up so many doors for you not to have to carry it alone. And inner child healing isn't about going into those memories and it's not like going to relive it, but it's actually just going to that little girl, like in meditation, like seeing her. Maybe she's sad or she's crying and she needs you to just go hug her and sit
Mm.
with her,
Yeah.
nothing else, right? So like there was things that your little girl needed from 0 to 18 that she didn't get. So the opportunity is to like go and meet her. So we're going to talk a little bit about masks because we
Mhm.
start trying on these masks about 7 to 9 years old is when we're really starting to put on different masks of like who are we? How do I need to show up in order to be seen? Who do I need to be in order to get attention, to get love, whatever it was for you. So for me in my household, it was like a very loud household. So I
Mhm.
had to be very loud, and I am not
Mhm.
as loud as I used to be. But when I get around my family, my octave and my voice goes up so high. And everybody's like, why are you yelling? And I'm like, it's just natural when I get around you guys.
Mhm.
And, so that was something that I had to put on. I had to put on this mask and then became an identity of who I am, that I'm just a really loud person and I talk really loud, right? So there's, other masks of like people pleasing, maybe you're trying to get straight A's because you get praise from your parents when you come
Mm.
home with good
Mhm.
grades. Maybe it was sports you got praised in.
Oh
And then
yeah.
maybe you became the perfectionism, or you started to be perfect. So the more that you were perfect and you were people pleasing, and then you're becoming the overachiever, right? And then you work really hard in order to be seen. And these masks kind of start playing into each other, right? And so it's the people pleasing, it's perfectionism, it's the overachieving, and now you work so freaking hard in your life right now, and you're burnt out, and you don't know why. A lot of this stuff is coming up from our childhood, right? I know like the hyper independence, hyper vigilant, being really independent, having doing everything on your own, and also being hyper vigilant of like what's happening around me all the time. Maybe
Yeah.
you grew up with parents that fought a lot like I did, and so you don't know what to expect when you're at home. And so you have all these masks. So for my invitation for you is to get curious is what masks from childhood may I still be wearing? So
Mm.
I wore the I don't care mask for a really long time. So if I got my feelings hurt or if somebody, broke up with me, which didn't happen that often because I was usually breaking people's hearts, but the few times that my heart was broken, like, is like very much like, oh, I don't care. Or like when I'm getting into fights with my partners, like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Like, and that was my protector. So it was protecting me from my feelings getting hurt because if I don't care, then I don't have to have any feelings about anything. And like, I don't care and I'm going to move on. Right. So that was not serving me though. That kept me hardened. That kept people out of my life. That, pushed people away in my life, right? And so that was something that was a protector for me that even in my marriage had to really like let go because it's like we're married, of course I care. Like saying I don't care is literally just a protector because like we're in this
Yeah.
together, right? And the other one was like I was a tough one all the time, like so
Mhm.
tough. Like I was gonna take care of everything. I was going to make sure everybody's okay. Like, I'm going to be there all the time. I'm going to, overwork myself. I'm going to say yes to everybody else. So I was just like, I had this armor of like having to do everything in order to be loved. Right. And so again, getting real curious. What are some of the masks that, you may be wearing? And they were there to protect us. So we don't want to get mad at them. We don't want to shame them. We want to just like meet it with grace and understanding that this is something that protected me, that helped me, right? So they helped us survive our environment, survive the people we were around. So they were in place for a very important role. And they helped us, feel loved and feel accepted and feel safe. So the masks really aren't the problem. It was your protection at once. So with the mask, right, they start becoming who we are.
Mm.
We start trying on the mask. I don't understand. Siri's talking to me. um, they start becoming who we are, and we start identifying with these parts of ourselves. So the I
Right.
don't care one followed me all the way into, my adulthood, into my marriage, into my 30s, right? And so start asking the questions of who do I believe I am? Like really at the core, like who do I believe I am?
Mm.
What labels have you attached to yourself? I'm always anxious. I'm bad with money. No matter how much money I make, I still seem to spend it. I can't
Mm.
save money, or money is just really hard to come by. I'm the responsible one. I always have to show up for everybody. And that means even if I don't feel like I can go out to do something, I already said I was going to do it. So I have to do it, right? Like you always are a responsible one. Or even like Lisa was saying, like, I'm not creative. That was me. Oh, for sure. Like
Right.
recently, that was me.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my girlfriends, she's more creative. And so we started like coloring, and I got these really cool like markers and stuff now.
I
And
love
like I've
that.
been tapping into like an age, like, so like I've been coloring like river rocks and with markers. And so I'll let
Oh,
that certain
fun.
age like channel through. And
Oh,
like
I love
and
it.
I'm like, okay, I'm just going to do one thing. Okay, it's like a heart. And then I was like, hey, what do you want
Mm-hmm.
to do next? Okay, we want to do a sun. Okay, cool. Well, what are we going to do next? And like literally it comes out so amazing. My
Yeah.
friend's like, you literally say you're not creative all the time. Like that looks so good. I'm like, it's so funny the labels that we put on ourselves, huh? Like
Right.
I actually am creative. So
Right.
I choose, and I've been like making these like sun catchers and like all this fun stuff. And I'm like, actually now I'm like, oh wow, I really am seeing that I am creative. And
Yeah.
so it's really cool to start doing that. So, who we believe we are influences what we create and attract into our lives. So who do we
Mm.
believe we are influences, creates, and manifests into our life. So, really just getting curious. If you're wearing a mask that you're not really wanting to wear anymore, get curious on how you can start taking it off and how you can start shifting that.
Yes. And I can say that we did share this on our Instagram live, actually, talked about a couple of masks, and
Mm,
my mask that I was talking about was the people pleaser. I
mm,
definitely am a people pleaser. I need to do everything for everybody else before I can get to me.
mm,
Like I don't prioritize my own needs sometimes.
yeah.
Or then I feel guilty and I'll just let go of everything else and just,
Mm,
do it for the other person because I feel like that's the best way to receive love for me, right?
oh,
Like that's what I learned. And again, it's no fault to anybody in my life. It's just how it came onto me. And the
yes.
other one actually that I don't think I talked about was as you were talking about sports and stuff. And I definitely was the achiever.
Mm,
I danced, so I performed, right? So like I did a great job performing and I danced and I had to do a good job, show up to practice,
mm,
be the like star student a little bit. Like, and then I also had to have good grades. Like I always had good grades. I always
mm,
had to study. I always, and I was totally the like overachiever, making sure all of that stuff. I was a
mm.
cheerleader. Like I was totally like the performer and achiever for
Wow.
sure. Like
Yeah.
had to make sure like I was getting like, getting attention or getting love in that way, right?
Right, like the attention, like with being the performer, like people giving
Yes.
that attention to you and
But
stuff. So
that was
interesting.
love, that
Yeah.
it always comes down to like how what are you doing? Is it for love or is it from love, right? Like it's
Amen.
and a lot of things and I came back to that saying I used to say all the time and I used to check myself
Mm,
all the time about it and it's been
yeah,
coming back around. So I feel
I
like
love
it's
it.
perfect for this conversation. It's like a lot of things you don't realize the past patterns that you had, the past actions that you did like was this and a lot of it the inner child stuff I think is why did you do this because you learned it for a reason, right? You learned it for a reason and you learned it because you were trying to get love, right? Like whether it's
Mm,
being loud or whether it's
yeah.
again achieving and making sure you're being the good girl, you're being the good student, you're being
Mm,
X, Y, and Z. It's a way to get that attention which equals love because you think that if you fail, if you do X, Y, and Z, it's going to be bad, right? And actually I could share this really quickly. Today I actually got a little bit triggered.
ooh.
And I had a thought of you because I did sit with my inner child actually today.
I love it.
And it was a really I was caught off guard with a client today,
Oh.
and I literally met this client yesterday in person at an inspection and was fine. And today I had to ask for payment, and we were finishing up our report and everything. And this client basically like started arguing with me over the phone and started like telling me that this was not right and he does business and it was a man, it was a two, and he
Yeah.
just was totally putting so much
Aggressive.
authority over me and
Yeah.
like just arguing with me, and I'm just trying
Oh.
to tell him, this is our protocol, like I'm sorry you're frustrated, and I was totally like so off guard. I was catching, and of course, we just had our voice, our
Mm-hmm.
other podcast about the voice. So I felt myself shaky. I felt
Oh.
myself being like, oh my God, what is happening right now? How do I make this better? Because, it's of course in a job too, you want to make it better and not freak out, and I was just so confused and I was just so caught off guard. And I'm just like, what just happened? And I had this buildup of emotion.
Mm.
And afterwards, I told my coworker because she's like, "That's not right." Like, and I'm just so grateful for my coworkers because they
Yeah.
don't tolerate any of that shit. Um, and they handled it. But again, it was just like that thing. I'm just like, "Oh my God, what does my inner child need right now?" Like, my inner child was so sad and so like,
Oh.
I'm bad, Like, I was like, "What did I
Yeah.
do for getting like almost yelled at?" Like, for a person that doesn't really that I
Yeah.
was fine with yesterday, right? Like, I was just. Of course, they just unloaded on me basically for whatever was going on in their life.
Right.
And I literally just let myself cry and I just like kind of gave myself a hug and I'm just like, wow, like I'm so sorry that like that just happened to you, but it's okay. Like, and I think that's just a test to what you're talking about, we're talking about
Oh.
and like, doing the work with you because real time shit that happens,
Right.
whether
Oh,
you
well,
just
I'm
like I
sorry that
don't know
happened
what
to
that
you,
happens.
jerk.
Yeah. Yeah. I was right before I taught yoga and I was like, okay, I need yoga right now because I need to like get out of the energy, take some deep breaths and everything. Like I have the tools, right? But we still learn to like be paused and listen in,
Mhm.
because again, my inner voice, my inner child was definitely needing something in that moment and was triggered in a way of being like, wow, like why am I getting yelled at, right? Like
For
we've all had
sure.
those times of being like, I don't even know what I did, like but someone's just coming at you or like
Mhm.
to had a moment, they had everyone can give grace to everybody, but
Yeah.
again, it doesn't mean that you don't get to feel those feelings too,
Mhm.
right?
So good. I'm so glad that you're able to like meet her and see her and give her what she needed because it's like, it's not you. He's having a
No.
bad day. It doesn't make it
Yeah.
okay, but here we
Right.
are.
Right. And again, like I could have easily, that would have made my day terrible. Like I've gotten
Oh,
triggered at work. You know what I mean? Like
for sure.
I've always been in customer service and, especially in the restaurant business when I was in that, oh my God, people are just so rude for no reason. And I was manager at a winery and it was just tough. It was freaking tough dealing
I
with
didn't realize you were
customers
a
and they're
manager there.
drunk. Yeah, yeah, I was a
Oh,
manager.
I didn't realize that.
And so it was tough working on some of those busy days and the drunk
Sure.
people, and they're just like coming at you, and you're just like, I'm so sorry that happened. And they're just like unloading everything on you. You're just like, okay. And even just different, I had to deal with a male chef that was like trying to control other women there, and I had to stand up to him, and it was hard. Again, it was
Mm,
like learning this how to voice and how to be like,
yeah.
no, like this is my truth. You don't get to
Right.
like do that over me. Like, hell
Right.
no.
Yeah.
But anyway, a little bit of heavy moment, but relatable. I think that's the
Yeah. No,
biggest
that was a
thing.
great
It's
story.
so
Yeah.
relatable
Hmm.
and it still happens even today.
Yeah. Right.
But
Can't
let's get
control
into
other
the
people, but we can control ourselves, and that's the truth
yes,
about it,
yes, and
right?
how we react, right? Like I think again, like you said, it's perfect that like you don't have to, you're not forgiving anybody with doing these things. You're not forgiving what anyone does, but you're just allowing yourself to be off the hook a little bit. Like it's still an emotion that you have to process, which we talk about all the time. Like that's what our biggest thing is. It's getting into the body and allowing your this energy of this emotion to be released in whatever way it needs to, whether it's
Mhm.
yelling, whether it's crying, whether
Yeah.
it's dancing around and shaking it out, whatever that is. Breath work, of course, is also
Yeah.
a big one for us. But it's really just allowing yourself to meet that part where it is at that moment.
Mm.
And if you can, of course.
Yes.
So let's move into something a little lighter.
Mhm.
We're
Let's.
going to talk about reconnecting to play and joy, which we touched a little bit on already. But play is seriously one of the fastest ways to reconnect with your authentic self. And that could be a part of you from your younger years. It could be your 5-year old, it could be your 9-year old, it could be your 13-year old, whatever version of you that wants to play and wants to have joy, this is the opportunity and invitation for you to to make it a priority because play is healing for a
Mm-hmm.
couple of reasons. It helps regulate the nervous system. It
Mm-hmm.
creates safety in the body. It encourages to be present in the moment, right? Because nothing else matters and when you're present.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because that allows you to get out of the head and into the body. It connects us to our creativity, which we've been talking about. And it really does build this resilience because, again, life, you don't want to have a life at the end where you regret, right? And you don't want to have a life that you're like, I didn't play with my kids or I didn't get outside that day and I was just working my ass off
Mm-hmm.
instead, and it also allows you to, when things get tough, it allows you to also choose to not exactly forget it again, forgive and forget, but it's allowing you to come back to who you truly are. Life is hard sometimes, and I can share that since we had this episode of the grief where you coached me a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and literally the couple of days afterwards when we found out that Steve's sister had passed away, we were with her girls that weekend for a
Mm-hmm.
birthday, and we were going to a trampoline park and I was like, I'm getting on those trampolines,
Yes.
because I was like, I knew I needed it. It was healing for me to like jump around, move around. I was with Mason. Mason, just like, I just followed Mason. I was like, Mason, take me wherever you want to go.
How
Like,
old is he
just,
again?
I get to be, now he's 13.
Yeah, okay.
But like he just gets to be he's a kid and like he was like come on do this and my fear definitely came in because he's doing these high jumps and everything and I'm like nope. I tried it and I'm like falling and I was like I'm scared Mason. I
Right.
don't do this like you do.
Mm.
But it allows you to bounce back in a couple of moments even if you are human, and
Yeah.
have days, good days, whatever, and in between. So maybe it's going to the trampoline park because they're everywhere now
Yeah.
and they're so fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
Maybe it's going to a dance class like I shared or going to Zumba class. I was teaching that anyway. And like that was also so much fun for me and so expressive for me, and creative as well. Guess what? Because that's a creative piece for me, like teaching classes, teaching yoga or teaching Zumba because I'm playing with choreography and I'm practicing and I'm listening to the music. So it's another way of creativity can also come through. And of course, our normal creativity that we think of is painting. So maybe you're a painter or maybe not, or
Mm.
paint some rocks like Desi's been doing
Yeah.
and channel that inner you that wants to paint and like draw some hearts and see where it goes. Um, Paddleboarding, Desi is such a pro
Yay.
at that. Um, we also, of course, with painting, coloring, I did this too. Actually, got gel pens. I think when we were doing Your
Oh,
Inner Child, I got gel pens and I started coloring and I had glitter ones and I was like, oh my God,
so
bringing me
fun.
back when I had some gel pens and like people were just getting me gel pens for like birthdays and stuff
Oh,
because I
fun.
just was obsessed.
I love it.
And playing games. So maybe it's board games, maybe it's games on like I remember I feel like the Wii was so fun or like
Mm.
Xbox when we did like the dance games or the
Yeah.
bowling and everything like that. Oh, do you remember Rock Band or
Oh, yeah.
Guitar
Hmm.
Hero, right? Like
Yeah.
those were so fun
That was
as
fun.
kids, even if we were a little older. Oh my God, I wish we still had that. That'd be fun.
For sure.
Um,
I want to get like Super Mario Brothers like really bad
oh
and some of
yeah.
like the Sega games, man. I'll get down
Right.
on that.
I know, right? It's so much more fun when you do that kind of stuff or you make time for that because it just
Yeah.
gets you out of your head and gets you into the moment, when you're doing those type of things. So, of course, just being silly, whatever
Mm.
way you can, right? Like that's like the epitome of being a kid. Like they just laugh and they just have fun and use their imagination and creativity. So, laughing with friends, and just like finding these moments, like how healing it is, especially for women, even guys too, though, being around your women or your girlfriends, and you're just like literally belly laughing, and you're just like, you
The
can't
best.
stop, and it was over like something silly and like whatever, and you're just like, wow, I needed that, like, right? Like how many times like you're like, I just needed a night with my girlfriends, I just needed a
Hmm.
night with whoever, or like you said, your niece and nephew, like how healing it is to be
Hmm.
with, certain people and just allowing your true self come out. And like whether that is, you're being so silly and you're like, wow, other people would be like, that was embarrassing that you like did that with, those
Hmm.
people or whatever. But like it's so healing in that way. So you can't let yourself go there, which I would be going there. I'd be like, no, I don't got time for that. Like, yes, you
Hmm.
do have time for that because that is the healing part, and that is the piece that we're missing a lot of times in life.
Yeah. I think the biggest part too is like you do have to be intentional about this. It doesn't
Hmm.
come natural, right? So I know that I have fallen victim to the trap of like constantly healing, constantly analyzing, constantly
Yeah.
feeling like I needed to do more. And at some point, it's got to be
Yeah.
enough, right? Like
Yeah.
it's got to be enough.
Yeah.
And then another point I wanted to talk about was, our parents, whether they were the best parents, the worst parents, whatever parents, right? Like we don't fall victim into like blaming them. And I think we can do that sometimes. Like, well, if my parent didn't do this and da da da, and like, yeah, the truth is, yeah, if they were better parents, then things could have been different. And they taught us so much as well because as we get older, we can learn from what they did to us and we can shift out of it and stuff. So I just want to bring that home. Like we don't blame our parents, we don't, fall victim to it. We just say, okay, this is what happened. And like now as an adult, I get to reparent myself the way my parents didn't parent me. Like actually it's my responsibility. And so that's another like part of the healing process too. Cause I know my mom recently said to me, um, she didn't like some of the things that I was talking about on my social media, right? Because it's starting to like involve her and like she has her truth, I have my truth, right?
Yeah.
And we're just talking a little bit more about like how I was like, yeah, but mom and you guys fought. Like I had a really good childhood. My mom like took us to the beach. We went to raging waters. Like me and my older brother, we really did have a lot of fun.
Hmm.
But her and my dad fought a lot, and like who knows what kind of mood my dad was going to come in? Who knows if he was going to be happy, he was
Mm.
mad, right? So even though she did create a great, fun environment
Yeah.
for me at times, there were still times where they were fighting and there was other things happening. And sometimes we have parents have a hard time a little bit. And I was like, Mom, I don't blame you for any of this. Like I chose you.
No.
My soul chose you as my parent. I knew
Right. Yeah.
exactly everything I was going to go through. And like I'm grateful for that because
Yeah.
look at what I'm doing with it now, right? So I just wanted to like say that as like a little caveat, because we don't want to. I used to be in victim mentality for sure. That was another freaking protector like
Mm.
mask that I wear. Like everything's happening to me. Of course, this is happening to me, right? And it's like
Right.
that's not helping anybody. So I've had to really shift out of that. But yes, so okay, with the healing, right? We can get caught up in the always healing, analyzing for more, always looking for the next thing, feeling like it's never enough. But like living this work and embodying this work is
Mm.
so much more important than trying to find the next thing to do. So, what does embody mean? I know one of my clients actually. I remember the first time I told her to go outside, and she was like, "Well, it's snowing outside. I can't go outside." And I was like, "Go make some snow angels." She
Right.
took her and her daughter. I think she was about I don't know 5 or 6 at the time,
Aw.
and she's sending me pictures like, "Oh my God, this is the best ever! Thank you so much for telling me to go outside." Like literally, I just told her to go outside, right? Like
Yeah.
so simple yet so profound. So this work is really about enjoying it, enjoying your life, enjoying the small things, making those core memories, right? Like we are going to die at some point. That's inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody on this planet
Mm-hmm.
is going to die. And what kind of life are we going to look back and think like, oh, I'm so glad I set the intentional time to go play. I actually was able to enjoy those blissful moments. I know for me, what's really been coming through the last like several months is like I everything is perfect. Like I have my husband, I have my puppies, I
Mm.
built a house, I have my pool that I got to design. Like, everything is everything that I ever wanted. And if we aren't like paying attention to that, right? Like it can just like pass us by and we can be chasing the next thing. And I've been guilty of that too, but I'm like, damn, like this is so good. And like that's what life
Yeah.
is really about. So it's like creating those core memories, being present in the
Mm.
memories, like being intentional with your people, like being present, get off the phone, like
Yeah.
put the thing away, like just sit there and like really focus in on your 5 senses, your smell, your touch, your the colors, the sensations, and like really being present. And so you know, at some point your healing becomes more about, less about fixing yourself and more about fully living your life.
Mm.
So I feel like there's
Amen.
so much more I could say, even though we're coming close to our notes here.
Yeah.
But what a fun conversation.
Oh my God, it's so good. Loved it.
Yes.
I
So
and
go ahead.
good. We do want to leave you with I want to remind you of the questions that Desi already shared for you
Mhm.
to tap into, but also a couple of questions to explore a little bit more. And then Desi can share, what she's got going on and how
Yeah.
you can learn more about the inner child. But one of your questions that definitely now that I'm sure you're thinking of like all the things that you used to do as a kid or that you want to do, and I want to also remind you that, I said I do a dance class, and maybe you're like, oh my God, that sounds so fun, but da 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 da. Stop.
Mm.
Stop yourself right there. Be
Mm-hmm.
like, if you feel excited about something, if you feel like, oh, I would love to do a pottery class. I would love to do something that's so out of your comfort zone. There's so
Mm.
many different things nowadays, but like really allow yourself to step into that. Like challenge yourself. Invitation to do something that you think would be so cool, and it'll allow you and maybe you'll love it, maybe you'll hate it. It's okay for either. Or maybe you'll learn. And I know for me, like when I did my first dance class, I was so intimidated because I'm like, I don't
Mm.
know who's gonna be there. I was the only one. I was just doing it because I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I wanted to have fun. And it was definitely a little intimidating. And I
Mm.
learned, was I actually like expressing fully and like being present with myself, or was I so focused on everybody else and comparing myself?
Mm.
Right. So allow yourself to also be aware of those thoughts and stopping you and having those thoughts stop you from actually doing the thing that's going to give you yeah, this actual live life, really, this living of life in the present moment. So a great question to ask is, what brings me genuine joy? And maybe you're going to have to tap into this quite a few times.
Mm.
It may not come right away. Or again, ask your younger self. Maybe you're asking, what did I used to do? Or ask your child, your parents, right? Like, what did I do as a kid? Like, did I love coloring? Did I love this? If you forget, or look back at pictures, or ask people that you knew, like ask your aunts and uncles, ask whoever,
Mm.
like, or your grandparents if they're still alive. What did I do when I came over here? What did we do together? Like that'll also kind of bring you back to maybe a memory that will be like, oh yeah, I forgot I used to love that. Like maybe the gel pens thing that like we
Mm-hmm.
shared, like love them. So what brings you genuine joy? And what did you love to do as a child? Right? Like, and I love this question too, because again, this is something that I had to work through and I still have to work on is, when was the last time you played just for fun?
Mm.
So good. And this could be even this could be even being creative or like imagination, like, right? Fill in the blank. Like it could be, when was the last time you were creative or just for fun, or like did a craft just for fun, right? Like something that you didn't have to
Mm.
overachieve or you had to make perfect, and just allow yourself to really expand into that and see what is there. Because again, you could be finding something that you're like, wow, this has been missing and I didn't realize I needed it. And
Mm.
it's a healing in a way that you can't really express sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to be so beautiful for you if you do tap into it. So don't let the excuses stop you either,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I can do that too. I don't
Yeah.
got time for that. Schedule it. My
Yeah.
biggest
Well,
recommendation, schedule it.
I was like you said paddleboarding, and sometimes when I go out paddleboarding, like I'll have to like go out of my way to like go skip the rocks. Like it doesn't always come natural for
Oh,
me either,
nice. Yeah.
but like I'll be like my girlfriend came over when we were swimming the other day, and like we were like literally playing. We got the ball out, we were playing like keep away with the ball, and we were like
Oh, fun.
swimming, and then we were dancing, and we were doing dives and all this stuff. Like intentionally, I was like, let's tap into our inner child today. We got all the toys out, but like when I'm out paddleboarding, sometimes I'm like not feeling it, so I like go out of my way to go skip the rocks
Yeah.
or like to go explore wherever we pulled over, because that's something my inner child would like totally do. Like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so, what are those things that your inner child would normally do in those positions when you're like out with your friends, or when you go bowling? Maybe you did something funny
Mm-hmm.
there. And so and I think too, like I think we all had a picture that we used to draw like really good when we were little. Like mine
Yeah.
used to be like
Yeah.
a house with like a fire chimney, and then like the moon and the sun and all the things,
Aw.
right? And so like go play around and doodle some old like things, and that'll like help tap you into your inner child too. So with all of that, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
go deeper with this work, I have a few ways to do that. But the when this episode airs, it's going to be Wednesday, and it's going to be the Wednesday the 17th, and we will be 4 days into or into Sacred Return. Little Girl Big Healing. And this will be an opportunity for you to come and meet your little girl. We're going to start off the first few days. It's all going to be about everything we talked about on this episode. So, like, if
Yep.
this interests you, you can get the replays. I will send that out to you. You have 3 weeks to catch up on the replays. And then I have guest speakers coming in and talking about their expertise with inner child healing. We have a money coach coming in, and Lisa's going to be speaking there. We have all these
Mhm.
amazing women coming together, and we'll also be talking more about these wounds and these masks and
Yep.
protectors that are being coming up for you. I'm probably going to be doing some breath work in there as I'm planning everything out. We'll definitely be starting with a little bit of breath work every day. So this will be just a way for you to get a little bit deeper, to really understand if you're looking for that. And you can get in with the link in the bio. And then I also am opening up the wait list for Inner Child Haven. This is my 14-week signature program where I take women through the ages of 0 to 18 through 6 different healing eras. So we can understand what our development is, what is happening, what we should have received from our parents. And then we're going to really go into those adult patterns, right? So we talked about a little bit about the masks and the protectors, but now we have these patterns that keep coming up in our lives and they keep showing up, and most of them are from childhood. So I really start helping you guys uncover what those are, and then we meet every other week to go over that healing space. So like from 0 to 3, we meet your infant self and we love her and we cuddle on her, and then from 3 to I think it's what 3 to 5. We go into that era of like what was developing and you're exploring and all these different stages that we go through. So you could really start connecting with her and healing her. It's all about fun. We do a lot of
Yeah.
fun games in there. We make forts, we have bingo, we have like so many things just to make it fun because yes, the healing work is important, the shadow work, all of that is important. I know we earlier said we can get caught up in it, and it's also so beautiful to do this work and pair it with the play and the joy and the fun. And we'll be kicking that off like mid summer. So once that gets all released, you guys will get all of the information and the early bird pricing and all that good stuff. So you can just get on the waiting list. And I'd like Lisa to add in anything because she went through the container with me if she'd like.
Yeah. Again, like I've shared a little bits and pieces where play was probably like my biggest thing. And then the second thing I remember going through and like uncovering more was like how small I was like playing and how like small I've been still, like
Mm.
expressing myself in bigger ways, which is of course full circle now, of course, as we're launching a podcast and sharing my voice and being like, I get to be confident in what I share and my gifts and all these things now.
Mm.
And so that was like a foundation piece. And now here we are. We're going to keep working on it and expanding on it. And I think what I did love, I loved the games, of course, because again, Desi always reminds me to play.
Mhm.
And I definitely do not make time for it, enough because I'm like, oh my God, when you just, I work from home too. So it's like so hard to not
Mm.
get distracted by doing the chores, the cooking, the da da da, like all the things, right, in a household and being like, I don't have time to play right now, or like, I now we have a teenager here, and it's like again, he's like, what are you doing? And I'm always working, and it's like, like I have to really be intentional with that time and be like, no, like my inner child wants to play, my inner child,
Mm.
wants to do these things. Like I've been working outside a lot because it just feels so much nicer than being stuck in the house
Yeah.
and doing different things. It just is a little bit. Maybe it doesn't have to be like a full hour or a dance class or anything else like that, but little bits and pieces, just being like, what feels good for me today? Like, what can I
Yeah.
do? That joy, right? Like, what's a little snippet of joy? Maybe it's just doodling on a piece of paper while you're working for a few moments. It's just to give yourself a little break from the screen. Like, it's something super simple, but I can say I did really love our live calls because you always did take us through a really cool journey that
Yeah.
met this part of us at that time that we were
Mhm.
learning. So whatever was coming through, I know I've shed tears. I know I've had really cool like connections with it and cool messages. So I
Mm.
think that's the coolest part because you really get to meet that part from those live experiences. So
Yeah.
Love
yeah, I
them.
really love bringing that together because I get to like be creative and bring out my
Yes.
creation and be like, okay, I think something I did this last round that you weren't in
Mm.
was I
Yeah.
was playing like musicals and stuff, like more like
Mm.
kind of going along with the ages and stuff like that, like for the healing process and stuff. Like I did the lullabies with you guys and I did that
Oh, yeah, yeah.
again. And then I did the lullabies and then I did like the sing-alongs for like, I think it's 3 to 6
Oh,
actually, like three to
right.
six when we're in that like explorer phase. So like I did like a whole sing along like thing and stuff. So I like really do take you guys on a journey with that age and
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's been so amazing to see this last time too, like really seeing the women be able to witness each other and like hold space for each other was really
That is
cool.
huge too.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
like a big part. And this last call that I just had with the girls a couple weeks ago was like really just all of them expressing themselves and then like all just
Mm.
holding space for each other. It
Yep.
was really, really, really healing for everybody. And I was like, wow, the power of this work and
Yeah.
the support is just is huge. So yeah. Anyways,
Yes.
so excited.
I think, yeah, like we definitely talked about that in my class too that we did. And so the sisterhood too, like
Hmm.
just really being full because we all were invited to share. And of course, and not everyone does, but when you do get share and when you are met with other like open-hearted, loving people, like it is maybe even more healing than like a lot of this
Mm,
even too, right? Because
yeah.
just being held and seen and
Witnessed.
witnessed, is a game changer for
It really is.
anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. The group containers really do give that other essence of like being seen, being heard, being held, and being witnessed and then being able to do it for others too, which feels is always like really nice
Mm,
to be able to hold a space for others. And
yeah,
yeah. So, okay, that's
so
all
good.
going to be in the show notes, guys. We're
Hmm.
so grateful. Thank you. Don't forget to leave us a review. We still have a couple more weeks before we do a giveaway. Make sure to share, like us, tag us in on Instagram, Real Talk Real Healing Podcast. Come follow us along. Let us know if there's any topics you'd like us to hear or talk about. And yeah, we'll see you on next week's episode.